Unmute your microphone. Make sure your volume's turned down on your phone. Unmute your microphone.
You hear me?
Yes, okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Facebook and YouTube. Welcome to another episode of Supporting Black Authors Book Club. I am your host, Dr. Deborah Davis, coming to you live from New Jersey, where we do every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. with different guests, along with my beautiful co-host, Dr. Angela Beth Williams-Hawkins. Say hello to the listeners.
Hello, everyone. How you doing?
How you do? Oh. We have a special guest tonight. Let me tell you, we have author Dr. Katrina O'Neil Davis. She is the author of the book that I have, of course, and I know you have, Hush, From Darkness into Light. Listen, we just tell you a little bit about Dr. Katrina. Good afternoon. Hey, listen, audience. How you doing, Miss Washington? Sterling, how y'all doing? Dr. Davis, I see y'all. We see you. You can put your comments in, and we will share your comments. Good afternoon. Good evening, rather. You must be on the West Coast. Okay, so Dr. Katrina O'Neil, she's an evangelist, a licensed evangelist, a missionary. She's a native of Newark, New Jersey, a minister. Minister Davis was born to Cynthia O'Neil on August 16. We ain't gonna tell y'all a year. Y'all don't need to know all that. And Minister Katrina was married to Elder Howard Davis, her high school sweetheart. And I'm jumping through this because it's lengthy. Evangelist Katrina, she served in the junior choir on the usher board, young adult choir, the Newark young adult mass choir. Wait a minute, you can sing? Hold up, you might have to get a little something. Why is everybody saying good afternoon? What time is it? It's in the evening. Come on, y'all, let's get it right. Good evening. And she is the author of Hush, From Darkness into Light. Um, Also, Dr. Katrina, she received her honorary doctorate in humanitarianism. Yes, she did, from the Church Beyond the Walls. And that was in July. And we are excited to have you. We're excited. Now, look, we got a lot to unpack, y'all. This book
A
is,
lot.
I just got it Friday, so I didn't even get to read it all. But what I want to say before we get started, and something that I like to say is I don't like to leave people hanging out there like we ain't been through nothing, because this book is deep, and so I just want the listeners to know that I have a similar story. I have a similar background. I don't pull no punches. I don't try to be holier or roller than I tell the truth. But we're going to talk about Hush tonight, not My Daddy, the Devil, and Me. Okay.
Mm.
um ooh. So first we want to talk about the title. Can you just let the listeners know how you came up with the title?
Well, I came up with the title when I was speaking to somebody, and I was telling, they was like, you really need to write a book, and I was like, I don't want to write a book. I said, I want to tell my story because I wasn't ready at that particular time, and the person told me to hush, to be quiet.
Ooh.
Wow.
I was like, hold up. And then
Ooh.
the person told me to hush and to be quiet. And that's how I came with the name Hush, from darkness into light, because I was in the dark for a long time. And then God showed me his heavenly light. So we can no longer be silent. That's why I have my Speak Your Truth t-shirt on. We need to start speaking our truth and telling our stories so that other people can get saved and other
Right.
people can get healed. And that's what Hush is about.
You
Yes.
know what? I have to say this. It's something you don't know. Like my book, also the subtitle is Out of Darkness into the Marvelous Light. I had a radio show and I called it Out of Darkness into the Marvelous Light, coming from First Peter 2:9, that he called us out of darkness into the marvelous light. You are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people who should show forth the praises unto him who brought us
Mhm.
out of darkness and into the marvelous light. So I just wanted to share that. And he called you out of darkness so that we can experience the marvelous light. A lot of people don't even know what it's like to experience the light of God because we belong to him and we were chosen for such a time as this, because we have to ask God sometime, why do we have to go through all of this, all
Yeah.
of the things that we go through? And it's because we were chosen for such a time as this. But I want to get into the book, but before we, somebody keeps sending me, but before we um unravel, Dr. O'Neill Davis, I forgot, I really want you to give a shout out to some people.
First and foremost, I would like to thank you, Dr. Deborah Davis and Dr. Angelette Williams, for this opportunity on this evening. I love you guys. I appreciate you. God is truly amazing how he's put certain people in my life, and I really appreciate it. First, I would like to thank God, first of all, for getting me through all of this. I like to thank God foremost and my husband, because it's very hard to be in a relationship with a person that has a story like me. So I like to thank my husband for sticking in there with me and putting up with the crazy and delusional behavior. You know what I'm saying? I like to thank my children, my godchildren, my grandchildren as well, for all of them putting up with me, and my sister Sabrina O'Neill Harris. I would like to thank her because she's always been there with me through my toughest times. My sister. And I like to thank my friends, some of my friends who show me love, to many, many strangers. You guys are awesome. My grandmother, who loved me, with just words and encouraged me. She was the first person to ever tell me that I was beautiful, and I believed her. Because for all my life, I never thought that I was beautiful at all. And I would like to,
Yes.
when you're dealing with a story like mine, you grow up and you believe those names that people call you, and all those things. So I would just like to thank those, and I would like to thank my family, because when the book came out, they knew nothing about this story. They didn't know how deep I was going to go, and majority of my family supported me, and I really want to thank them for the support that they give me and continue to give me.
So there's Howard. that's your husband. I guess he says, "Tell it, girl."
So I would like to thank my family, first and foremost, because when your family reads your book and they don't know your story, it's a shock to everybody. So I would like to thank them for majority of my family who still stand by me with Hush.
Okay, that was a mouthful. You got a big family, girl.
You know how it is.
Yes. And your introduction, you said the book was written for the sole purpose of God's will to heal those who need to be healed from the abuse through molestation and rape, which I can relate, because that is something, it is a hard story that you have to come out and talk about, and you have to deal with the guilt and the shame.
Yes.
And what God does is he takes all of that, all of the guilt, he takes all of the shame.
Yeah.
Once you reveal your story, what you're doing is that you're putting the devil in his place.
Yeah.
Right? You put the enemy up under your foot, and he no longer has a hold over you with the things that has happened to you. You know, this is easy for me to interview because I suffer from the same thing, you know. Now,
Yeah.
Dr. Williams, we know that you may not have, but there's still a lot of things that women go through.
Yes.
You know, fear,
Yes.
low self-esteem, you
Yes.
know, things like that. So, Dr. Hawkins, jump in the conversation, you know, because I'm greedy.
All right,
You
that's
know,
okay.
I'll be
That's
all
okay.
over
It's
the
okay.
place.
Yep.
And you'll be sitting there for a good minute. So jump on
Yes,
in for a
yes.
minute.
Dr. Katrina Davis and I just have the honor to say that she and I graduated together high school.
Yes, high school.
So I've known her for a
Amen.
long time. Yeah. Well, I knew of her. We didn't get to know each other until church, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. In your book, your first chapter, you talk about there's 20 million adults that have been molested. Now, is that majority of that, would you say, and I not hate to say it, but do you think majority of that is in the Christendom?
No, it varies because it's other countries, because they believe having a relationship with children can heal certain diseases, so it's an overall. But to me, as I was doing my studies, I believe the number is a lot higher. But it's not just, it's churches, it's in your own homes, it's dealing with uncles and all those little secret things, especially in the Black family. It said whatever goes on in this house stays in this house. We got to get rid of that. That's because whatever goes on in this house no longer need to stay in this house. You need to speak your truth and tell your story so that you can be healed. We have young ladies that are killing themselves. Even we don't even speak on the part about the boys.
Right.
We only talk about the girls.
Jesus,
The same thing is going on with the boys as well. I believe the numbers are a lot higher, and it's overall, not just church. It's a lot of stuff going on, but it's overall.
It is. It's all over. It's in different countries.
Yes.
And the most is the secretism of it all.
Right.
You know, you say it took you 26 years.
It took me 26 years.
I think I was at 30 years. You know, so it's a lot of reasons why we don't tell. You know, I had the Stockholm syndrome. I wanted to protect.
Yeah.
You know? So it's a lot of reasons why we don't tell, and that's a lot of reasons why it's going unnoticed.
Yeah.
And you know, and a lot of it is coming out now. You know, there's some celebrities. We ain't mentioning no names. I could, because it's all over the place, you know.
All over the
but
place.
It's coming out.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't feel I mean I don't have compassion for that, you know, because children, they don't know. It's like you're grooming a little child, a little baby, you know, like I thought about baby Brianna. It was a baby. She was 6 months old, and her name was Brianna Lopez of New Mexico. She was 6 months old. She was being raped by her uncle and her father at 6 months old. The detectives had to reconstruct a photo of what she would look like.
Jesus.
So, you know, Look, a lot of people don't want to talk about this subject, but we're going to talk about it, okay?
And I got a question, another question. Dr. Katrina Davis, and you mentioned it, it's funny because I wrote that part down about um, what happens in the home stays in the home
Yes.
is, that was taught to us. I have it written down. So my question is, do you think it caused more damage to the person, and it's, as they grew up, and even
Learned
in
behavior.
adulthood, it caused more, damage to the living, the journey, the lifestyle of the person, being able to function and find healthy relationships, and things like that.
Yeah, I believe it caused more damage because you're basically with my situation. I start building blocks and borders around myself. Like, like building blocks. It's easy to build those blocks and borders around yourself, but it's
Mm,
hard to break them down. Once you put those blocks up and you try to protect yourself from certain things, especially with me, I was a little kid. So basically, when
mm,
you're a kid and you're groomed, you believe what the adult says. So
right.
then when it's time, and people ask me, why you didn't tell nobody? Because I was
Mhm.
afraid to, and I was afraid
Mm,
how people was going to treat my mom,
right,
and
right.
things like that. So that was a fear for me too, as well. Not only her, but even start treating me. I used to
Mhm.
walk around thinking that people could look at me and know that this is going on. To me it's a secret, but to look at me and to know, like, yeah, she doing this and she doing that and she doing this,
Mm,
and I was afraid of that, of people knowing. So, it took a long time for me just to, first of all, forgive me first.
wow.
I had to forgive myself.
Well, yeah, we
Wow.
want to talk about that. We're going to talk
Wow.
about forgiveness because that's the ultimate freedom, okay? We're
Yeah,
gonna get to
yeah,
that
yeah.
because
Because when I first wrote the
the
book,
forgiveness is not for the
angry.
forgiveness is not for us. The
But
forgiveness is, I mean, not for your perpetrator. The forgiveness is for us. It's not
right,
Mhm.
for them. They may not even never know that you didn't forgave them,
right.
but that's where the forgiveness it's the freedom lies in the forgiveness. So you say that you said I was once molested, I sold my body, I once was a drug addict, was a porn star, was a stripper. I was a hoe. I was raped. I was a mistress. I had a train pulled on me, knowing they can still be good persons and feel good about themselves. And once they chose life and not death, I wanted young women and young men to understand, but they're not the only ones going through this pain. They're not alone. I wanted them to understand my pain, my suffering, how I almost lost my mind. Listen, let me tell you why I read that.
Wow.
Okay. That's a lot right there, right?
Mm,
And what happens, because I went through some of that, okay? And what happens, we get low self-esteem and you think that nobody loves you and nobody cares about you and this thing is happening to you. So we result to some of these habits and some
Right.
of these things, and that's what that truly is what happened. That's why I wanted you to know that you're not alone. You're not alone. You're not by yourself. We all go through some stuff. I went through that. I went through the low self esteem, the hating of myself. But once you fall in love with yourself, now, wait a minute. Now,
yeah.
mm.
That's
Yes.
it right
But I
there.
do want to talk about where it says, I almost lost my mind. Because after people hear our stories, people always ask me, Deborah, how is it that you didn't lose your mind? You know what I
Mm,
tell them? I tell them that I did. I
mm,
left it in the pit, that old mind
wow.
was lost and left in the horrible pit of miry clay. When God pulled me up out of that, I
Mm,
left that old mind in that pit. The old stinking thinking was left right there. Do you
mm.
feel that same way, Dr. Davis?
Yes, the negative thoughts that you have about yourself. Once you get into that situation, you start feeling those negative thoughts, names people used to call you, and things like that. So I started to believe those things. Sorry about that. I started to believe those things, the negative thoughts and things that was in my mind. So I basically started believing all those things that was said to me, all those things that was brought to me. But then I had to start listening to the other voice. and the other voice was better than those voices. And once
Mm.
I was able to hear God's voice and how
Right.
God said, "You are
That.
beautifully and wonderfully
Ain't that
made.
something?
You,
Ain't that
you are
something?
this and you are that."
That.
And God was
Yes,
telling me who I
yes,
was.
yes.
I belong to Him. And then I
Mm.
started listening to those, and those other words, I didn't hear them as much
Mhm,
as I
mhm.
used to. You know,
I
the
heard
one
those
thing you
words.
can do is really
Mhm.
hate your own self. Like
Yes.
at one
Wow.
point, you start hating your own self. And then
Mhm.
the worst part for me was to look in the mirror and not see myself, but constantly see me as that child.
You
And the
know,
best thing for me was the day I looked in the mirror was able to just see me.
this is
That was the
a
healing. I
this
knew
is
the healing came.
it's difficult for me to sit still, and because it's like you're telling my story,
Mm.
you know. And I remember so vividly when I couldn't look in that mirror.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Wow.
then the one time that God told me to look in the mirror and He let me see my lost condition, right?
Mm.
And see stuff all around that I didn't never notice was there before.
Mm.
For years it was there. I'm living, no lights. What? Where did all this garbage come from?
Mm.
Where did all this? Why am I so? Why do I look like? Right? That's that darkness.
That's the
Mm.
darkness.
That's the darkness that's alienated in our mind
Wow.
that you don't even see it.
Wow.
Right? Can you relate to that?
Yes, because people say, you know how people say they hear voices, you know, and I used to make fun of people when they say that, but they used to say that. But then when I started hearing those voices myself, then I was like, hold up. But you know, but the light is God was just saying, just come to the light. Just come to the light.
Wow.
And the whole thing, the enemy kept saying, you can't go back to church. They're going to treat you like this. That's why you left in the first place. And
Mm.
God kept saying, just come back to the church. People started calling me saying, come back to the house of God. And I kept saying, no, I'm not going to do that. And, you know, I was in a bar when I got really saved again. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Because
Wow.
God called my name when I was at my lowest point. And I
Wow.
heard Him call me. And
We have
so when He called my name, I actually answered. You know, I answered the call and I was like, you know, God, you get me. You know how sometimes you be in your darkest place and you be praying and lying to God. Oh, I was a big liar when it came to praying and lying to God. I used to lie.
If you just let me make it through this
God,
one
you let me
time.
make it through tonight. God, you get me over this
He
drunkenness.
knew you was lying.
He knew I was lying. I was lying out of my teeth.
But He knew when you told the truth now.
He
Don't
right, but the
yeah.
one day I said that and He really said, you going to
We
stop
have a-
playing with me.
We have
Wow.
a question. We have a question here from Dr. Tenaria. She says, how long did it take you to realize that you are beautiful and wonderfully made? That's a good question.
Over 26 years, I really didn't start accepting the beautiful part until maybe a couple of years ago. You know,
Wow.
yeah, I really didn't start accepting that. You know, but it took a long time. You know, even when I was a licensed minister, people would say how beautiful I was, and I was like, who are they talking to? You know,
Wow.
I had to be. My grandmother had to say, "But you are," and I would say, "No, I'm not." You know, I would always rebuke it. You know, no, I'm not. But it took years and years, and sometimes I find myself still saying, You're not beautiful." You know what I'm saying? But then God is saying, "But you are. You everything I made you to be."
Yeah,
You're
the Bible
all
tells us
created.
that we are fearfully
Yeah,
and wonderfully
wonderfully
made. You know, so what I do is I believe, because I heard you say about the voices, right? So now I know that the voice, if it's not good, it's not God.
Exactly.
Because every good and perfect gift comes from
From
above.
the Lord.
Yes. Yes.
And you start hearing those voices telling you that, you got to know that that is not God.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
God, he's telling us that we're beautiful, that we're, and I started saying these things. Now, listeners, I want y'all women to know that it is in the word that you are an overcomer, right? You are a champion. It's in the word. You're a champion. You're a winner. You're victorious. Look, when you start walking in that thing, bam, that's when you start loving you. That's when you can tell these stories and tell your truths and be transparent. Right? And I would say, God, well, how is it that we as women can come and tell these horrible truths? And God let me know that whoever points the finger or judge you, they're going to have to stand before him.
Exactly.
So that makes it all the easier for me. I welcome it. I'll be like, "Ooh, come on, please judge me, please." Because you got to stand before God. I want to put up here what her husband said. She was fine when we met. Oh, you better say that.
My husband told me that too, and I believe
you better say that.
Exactly. And that's I want to say this.
Oh, Carmen Davis, congratulations, Dr. Katrina. Hey,
thank you so much,
Carmen.
We interviewed sister.
Yes, I
want
that.
Yes.
So, Dr. Katrina Davis, going back to the fact that you are married, and it took, you are still married, going through having those feelings inside that you did not feel beautiful, that you did not feel complete, you did not feel whole. What can you tell the single women out there that feel like, oh, if only I find the husband that, it will make it all better. If only my husband will come, it'll make it all better, and, to let them know that, honey, it's the ultimate covering that completes you.
Yes, it is. I tell females to wait on the Lord, because so many times young ladies are stepping in front of God to find a husband, and that is not the one God has chosen for them. I waited on the Lord, and when I met my husband, I met him walking down the street, once again, on the way to the liquor store, and the Lord spoke to me and said, that's your husband. And let me tell you, years later on, my husband said, when he saw me, he said, the Lord said to him, that's your wife. And when I looked at my sister walking down the street, I said, that dude with them shorts on that corner, that's going to be my husband.
That part, I did read that. I did read that in your book.
I did not know that the God said the same thing to him at the same time.
Wow. That's confirmation. That's confirmation.
On my way to that liquor store that day. Then I gave him
what I want to say as a single divorced woman, what I want to say is I don't need no man to validate me. Let me just say that. Okay. We gotta keep it real.
Keep it real.
Congratulations on your marriages, ladies. But I don't need no man to validate me, to tell me I'm beautiful, to make me. It sounds good. It's nice to have that. To have that, your man telling you, your husband, that, the man finds a wife, finds a good thing. All of that is biblical. Wife, husband, one is one, all biblical. But in the meantime, you have to make yourself. You got to show yourself. You got to encourage yourself. You got to walk in this thing yourself. And then when the Lord sends you somebody, you're already ready. You already ready.
You already whole.
You whole.
Yes.
So then if it happens, then it's good. But if it don't, it's good too.
It's good too.
Because then you're not looking for love in all the wrong places. Been there, done that, and that's a dangerous place to be, to look for love, because everybody want to be loved, but you can't give something that you don't have. If you don't possess it, how can you give it? We can say we love our children, we can say we love our husband, but if you don't love you, it's like me asking you for $1 million. You can't give me something you don't have.
Right.
And so once you fall in love with you, then you got something to give to that man that you waiting on, right?
Right.
Here we got somebody. That's right. Wait on the Lord is key. A man's finds a good wife. Yeah, that's what we said. A man that finds a good wife finds a good thing. But you know what, though? What about the wife that finds a husband?
Yes.
They always say about the man that finds a wife, right?
So the woman choose the husband, right? But the man find her, and then she choose to say yes. Is that how that works?
Some choose to, some don't. It depends. You'll know. I believe that if you find the right one, you'll know. You'll know when it is. A lot of people.
If you were just joining us, and I see y'all on YouTube lighting up, it's so hard for me to show books. We are interviewing author Dr. Katrina Davis' book, Hush, Out of Darkness into the Light, right? So you got to get this book. I got it It came on Friday. I'm still reading it. It is a lot to uncover. I do want to talk about the molestations, holding secrets, because that's the hard part, holding secrets. You know, I saw the girl in the basement. And when I saw the girl in the basement, did y'all see that movie?
With the father?
With the father, he
That's
had
what
five kids,
yes.
and he kept his daughter in the basement for what, 20 years or something like that?
Yes.
Mm.
I saw that movie. That's when I started to write my book, because
Wow.
you always think it's only you.
Mm-hmm.
You always think you're the only one. Then and then I saw I'm gonna get her name right, Azizia Kabibi, right? And I saw her on ID channel. I said, I'm gonna get her. I interviewed her. You can
Wow.
go back on Supporting Black Authors Book Club page to find her interview. She got pregnant 5 times from her father. He's doing 90 years
Wow.
in jail. But that what made me write my book, because
Wow.
when you Carmen said she saw it. When you, I'm sorry, Elder Carmen Davis, who's going to be Dr. Carmen Davis in July. Yes, one of our honorees. When you see that it happens to other people and it's not just you, Carmen's another one. She know what we're talking about. Then you can come out and you can talk about it and tell your story. So,
Mm.
Dr. Katrina, did you have the Stockholm syndrome, or was it that you were afraid of what family and friends would say and think? Because it's parts to it. What
Mm.
makes us to be silent?
I was just afraid of what I thought about myself,
Mm-hmm.
being so young, and that's my first experience with
Right.
the person, and I'm a child. I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to wait until I get married and give myself to someone. He had no right to take it, you know.
Who?
Mm.
So
Who? We never
my,
discussed
my
it.
stepfather, he had
Mm-hmm.
no right to take it, so it always was, oh, if you tell this, then I'm gonna tell this about you, or he allowed me to do certain things and then use it against me. It's like
Mm.
Wow.
certain things that, like, being that still aggravates me. Like, I don't like tang, and I don't like over teaming, because those things he used to keep from me as a kid. And now
Oh,
if I see it,
wow.
it triggers certain things. Oh, I still have triggers or certain things, but I know that I'm in a different place, in a different space, and I'm like, and I'm able to, like, come up with scripture or pray myself out of certain areas,
Right.
because
Right.
you're always going to have those triggers, like a
Yeah.
certain
Mm.
way a
Yeah.
person holds your hand, or a
Wow.
certain touch, could bring back crazy things. But I'm
Right.
like, the
Right.
devil
Right.
is a liar.
Right. You know
He's a
what? You
liar.
said it. You said it. You said it. You said it. Listen. Ooh. Because I would see a father and a daughter in
Yes.
church, and he would put his arm around her, and I couldn't even listen to the message because I'm wondering, is he doing that to her?
The
You know what
first
I'm saying?
initial thought.
I was brainwashed
Yes.
right? I was brainwashed from scripture,
Mm.
Genesis chapter 19,
Mm.
where Lot slept with his daughters. That was embedded in my mind and in
Wow.
my head that
Wow.
this is okay because look, it's in the Bible,
Mm.
But
right?
let me
So
tell a story. You know what? It's a or what's his
I'm
name?
glad the Lord freed you to tell your truth.
Oh, thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Mm-hmm.
He played on, what is his name? Who went to jail? The older young man who went to jail, but where he had the Cosby Show. On the
Bill,
Bill
Bill
Cosby
Cosby.
Cosby.
Show,
Bill Cosby.
it was a scene where he had the children and he played with them on their knee, the airplane game. I could not stand that game where the man
Mm.
would
Right.
put the child on a knee and they would pretend that
Wow.
it was an
And
airplane.
look at
That
that. And he was a
triggers
predator.
triggers things,
Right.
because that's what he did to me. I was like, I'm thinking it's a game, but
Wow.
they have little manipulative things that they do to lead up to
It's
the
a brainwashing. It's a
Act.
it's a
brain.
brain
And
to lead.
I would often say it's like if you have a baby, right? And you teach that baby to say their alphabets from Z to A instead of A to Z. That's
Mm.
what they're gonna know. What they're gonna know. And then also when you get a certain age, because you said it took you what, 20 some years, and I stayed in that thing for year after year after year. And it's like a woman that is in an abusive relationship, a
Right.
domestic relationship, and don't know how to get out.
Now,
Wow.
People say, "Oh, why you could have ran, or you could have told, or you could have did this," but you are brainwashed to a point where you don't see all of that at that time. Do you agree?
yes, but some kids do run, but they end up back to the same place
Mm-hmm,
because they don't know where to go. You a kid, you running, running where? All you know is from your home to school or school to your. I always ran to the church. Even as a little girl, I always ran to the church, and then I was not safe at the church. But I met this priest, and I wish I could go back and say thank you, but he would just sit with me. He didn't say a word. He said, "You don't have to say nothing." He said, "I know." He just sat there with me, and I sat there in the church until it was no longer safe for me to go there because of other people who came in the church who was just like what I was dealing with at home.
And the hardest part for me was that I read some stuff in here that you said about your mother. Okay, I want to talk about that a little bit because I had to let my mother read my manuscript before I published it. I wanted to give her that courtesy. I didn't want to just put that out there and she didn't know anything about it. So, but I really do want you to talk a little bit about can you speak on that?
Yeah. Well, my mom and my relationship is very good now, but I was angry at her for a long time, and then
I was never angry.
For a long, I was because I was a kid and I didn't understand. So you have to get understanding. I was angry at her for a long time because I didn't understand. The thing is, I didn't understand what she was going through. Her life, because my mom had me at a young age. So as I got older, I got revelation. As I got older, I matured. As I matured, I got a better understanding of she was a kid herself. I was trying to be a mother as a teenager.
Right.
So how can I continue to be angry at her? And you know what? One thing that happened to me, God told me one day, how can you walk around and preach my word, say my word, when you are still holding anger against
unforgiveness.
And that day when he said that to me, I said, I can't do this unless I forgive me and I forgive my mother.
Woo, girl, look, we're gonna have to definitely do a part 2 because look, our time is coming near, but let me tell you something. We ain't even scratched the surface. But what I learned, and this is what we want to walk away with, the forgiveness. I had to forgive that man. I had to forgive him. You know what? He was my father, biological father. And I had to forgive him, right? Because the Bible says, honor thy mother and thy father. Look. Now, this took a long time for me to get to that. Honor thy mother and thy father. I was like, I got to honor my father. You got to honor your father. No matter what, you still have to, because it's biblical that your days will be long. I had to respect my mother, let her read the manuscript and honor the man that, girl, I don't want to talk about my story. I be trying not to because we on here to talk about Hush, but it's just so,
Doctor.
It's so.
If I can
interject, I tell everybody, I love my mom.
If I can interject, I have a question because, and both of you can answer one at a time. So you both were molested, at a young age, and way before you had children and got married. Did that affect, once you start having children? How did that affect the relationship? Yeah.
That's a whole nother show.
That's a whole nother story.
Our time is winding down, but I want you to just touch that for 30 seconds, Dr. Davis.
That's a whole nother story. I was very overprotective. My kids could not go anywhere. I didn't allow them to get on the school bus. I was driving them from A to B. And I joined. If they were on cheerleading squad, I became the coach or the mother of the football team. I didn't allow, only certain people can watch them. It was, now I think about the things that I've done to protect in my mind, to protect them.
Yeah.
It was like literally crazy,
Wow.
just crazy behavior that I did. My kids would say something about it, and I was just doing that to protect you. But I find myself still doing that with my grands or whatever. You can't be sleeping over here. You can't be doing that. But
Right.
it was a lot of crazy behavior.
Mm-hmm,
And even for
Mm-hmm.
my husband, it was
right.
crazy for him to have to deal with somebody like me who just lose it. I just say, I'll say,
Well, that's love, girl. That's love. And I
that's
understand
love,
the difference. My
and for
difference
me, for
was
my
that
children, I had to basically, I was afraid of everything, everyone. Somebody would say something to them, and I would swear they're saying something else. So
Wow.
it took a
that's what it
long
is right
time.
there.
Yeah, it took a long time for me to, even a good father will hug their daughter. To me, it was bad. But
Wow.
then
So
I had
that
to
that
say,
so
Wow.
that right there
Wow.
too with the children part, it was hard. It's
it was
hard
hard.
because feel that you feel that. And like one time somebody said, I think my son was about 4 or 5, and all they said was, "Oh, he got some pretty eyes." And it was a male. But he was, and before I knew it, I bloodied his nose.
Wow.
I did, because it
Wow.
was just a reaction. Like,
Wow.
don't you ever in your life look at his eyes. Not
Mm.
don't.
Just
He said,
weird stuff.
all I said was,
Yeah.
don't you ever in your life look at it. So you do have it, and then you outgrow that. You
Yeah.
have to outgrow it.
Yeah.
But it takes a while, because I was still in church. I was being look, and I was still like, wait a minute, that don't, I wonder if that there, and most of the time I'd be wrong, but you still
Yeah.
have that motherly instinct for
Mhm.
other people's
Right.
children when you see it. I'm gonna say this real quick. I was in a restaurant and I saw this man dragging along a little girl, and her eyes was looking like, help me. This was some years ago. And I still can't forget that look. And I hate that I didn't react.
Mm.
This was like, but I remember that, and it bothered me why didn't I follow them? Why didn't I? Because the
Mm.
look that she gave, he was walking real fast with her. And the look, she was looking like, help me. And I'll never forget that look. So we're going to grow. We're going to grow in grace and everything. Listen, if you're just tuning in, this is author, Dr. Katrina Davis. She is the author of Hush, From Darkness into Light. Get her book. Listen, Dr. Davis, please we're not related. I just met this young lady. There's a lot of Davises in the world. Okay?
You never know.
You never know.
Right. Please tell the listeners where they can get this book. Girl, I ain't finished the book. I just got it Friday. And it is.
Hush is sold on Amazon and all major bookstores, Barnes and Nobles. You can get the book from Amazon, and also I want to give out my information. You can reach out to me on Instagram / Katrina Davis / on Facebook as Katrina O'Neill Davis, TikTok at / Katrina Davis / and my email is Katrina Davis Hush no longer at gmail.com. You can
Wow.
email me with any comments or life questions, or I'll answer you. But I got a lot of things coming out, going on. A website is being built finally. It took a long time for me to agree with something, but we finally got the website coming through. We got the LLC. We have our business coming out. Touch Foundation. God is about
Wow, that's a lot.
wait, I cannot forget my publishing company. They are so amazing. After the Storm Publishing Company, amazing sister Cheryl Love, she's on there on that's my publisher, and she published my book. And I just wanted people to read the book like they're sitting down talking to me. So, and she was able to do that for me, and that's why I love my publishing company. They support me in everything. So it's amazing to have a publishing company that supports you in what you do. They show up where I am. Even when I go out and preach conferences, they come out and support. So I really appreciate them. Piece of my publishing company and all those things like that. But I really appreciate being on the show on today with you guys.
Listen, let me
Oh,
tell you something. We need more time, right?
Sister Cheryl Love is my publisher. So anybody want to know, she has a publisher. Peace in the Storm and After the Storm Publishing Company. Yes.
Oh yeah, we need more time.
We do because it's
a lot
a
to
lot.
uncover in this book. This book is how many pages? Look at 230 pages.
I just wanted to tell a story to try to help somebody. That's it.
Yeah.
Because nobody helped me. So that's why I really wrote Huss. Because, Antoine Fisher was my inspiration because I put the book down and said I was not going to write it. And I was watching an Antoine Fisher story and read his book. And he said, once them people done that to you, it's no longer their story. That is your story. And when he said that to me, I was like, yes. And that gave me the strength to write the book, to go ahead and write it, get it out.
I want us to do, I know, I see Dr. Carmen Davis is on, and we were talking about doing a big woman's,
I'm for it.
I don't want to use the word conference,
No, Dad, we on the same page.
It's like it got to be something different. Right. So, but we all need to, because all of us have similar backgrounds, And my thing is, let me tell y'all, the truth is I love, for real, like all the nitpicking, jealousy, envy, being competitive, competition. That's not me. I'm not in that.
Right.
I've outgrown that.
Mm-hmm.
I've outgrown that. And that's why I can relate and get along with such beautiful, loving, gorgeous women like Dr. Angela William Hawkins, like Dr. Katrina O'Neal Davis, like Dr. Carmen Davis. Come on, this is what it's all about, because we can help one another. We can lean on one another. We can look. You talking about a business. I'm business minded.
Yeah,
Dr. Davis, now is the time to do this because it seems it's a pandemic. Molestation and rape has gotten worse.
Right.
It has. Stuff like that. I'm like, I wrote the book in 2021.
I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. Look.
Yes.
Davis Hall.
We have to.
I kept forgetting it when I was interviewing. I'm sorry, Dr. Davis Hall.
Her marriage name, yeah.
So I think we really should.
She put that Hall in there, girl. I don't blame you. Look.
I know that's right.
Oh, hey, Frank Jordan's watching, y'all.
Hey,
we just his books. Oh God, put the name of your book in there, Frank. And he just did his own wine. I want him to come to our thing so we can do a wine tasting. Where you at? I think you can sell somewhere, girl. Listen, we got to put this thing together.
Let me know. I'm there. You guys know I'm there.
The other thing is we're always better to get. Oh wait. Here he is, Frank. Okay. The other thing is that this is supporting Black Authors Book Club. So when other authors come on Wednesday night, even if you've been interviewed or whatever the case may be, you still need to log on. And Frank says we're always better together than we are apart. Phenomenal show, ladies.
Thank you,
Frank. Thank
you so much.
She said, I have a good husband. I can't leave him out.
I know that's right.
All right. I wasn't trying to leave him out. Not on purpose.
Dr. Deborah.
So Dr. Davis, I can say I'm not a victim of molestation or rape. However, I have books out. I have a few authors in the books that have shared their testimonies. That
we're gonna get them all on.
Yeah, I've read some of the.
I have that.
Yes.
So Dr. Hawkins, please share with the listeners the billboard and the name and title of the book with the ladies, please.
So the billboard launch was this past weekend in Elkton, Maryland. Woo!
Beautiful billboard.
A few minutes from the Delaware Mall, a big mall, and right in back of Wawa. So it's getting a lot of attention.
I know that's right.
It'll be there until next Saturday. But the actual book is called The Waiting Game. And listen, The Waiting Game is about women and their journey, waiting on the man that God has for them. And a lot of them talk about that. In the waiting, they were choosing men wrong, wrong guy.
Don't give them nothing about the book. We're not interviewing that book tonight. We got to come back. We got to let them come back. Right? And then we're going to do it. We're going to have all of it's 8 of you, right?
Yes. 8 of us.
Let's do it. Let's do it, ladies. I'm telling you. Oh, now y'all want to come in. On the go. See what I'm saying? Been promoting this thing, now the switchboard want to light up.
Wow.
Glory be to God,
So we want y'all to go out, get her book. We want to support each other. We want to support Hush. I like the title. They told her to be quiet. She said, I bet I don't.
The next time I want to come on, I'm gonna give some t-shirts away. We're gonna do some things, some great things, because I also have a t-shirt line. Speak your truth. No longer broken. We are no longer broken, ladies.
Ooh, I like that.
Y'all better speak that truth and tell them we are no longer broken. We all came out of darkness into God's light. You better believe that. I don't care what your story is.
That's right. And let me say, every last one of us, we have been awarded with our doctorate in humanitarianism. Woo! And God chose me to continue to award people, individuals that truly deserve to be honored. So we did that graduation in July, and the 2025 is July the 12th. Start sending in your nominees. We already up to 20. I see Dr. Washington on. She was one of our nominees, one of our honorees. And we are already up to 20 for 2025. And our keynote speaker is Dr. Dorinda Clark.
Love her.
Clap it up.
That's our keynote speaker. So y'all get those nominees in. And in the meantime, we are going to collaborate with one another. Be back next Wednesday. Oh, yes. No. Oh, she rescheduled.
Yeah.
So I need an author for next Wednesday.
I got you.
Okay.
I'll call you.
All right. Awesome show. Y'all know it's hard to leave, right? Oh, there's another Dr. Washington. There's another one of our honorees. And this one more comment. I like putting these comments up. We are no longer broken. We're gonna leave Alicia Fletcher. Congratulations. We are Minister longer
Reverend Fletcher, because no longer broken is the t-shirt. We got to start walking this thing.
Yeah.
We can't be playing around.
Carmen has her shirt, sister. She has her mugs, Right. I don't know. I might get some mugs and some shirts,
Go ahead, Dr. Devin, get them.
Daddy girls have t-shirts.
My daddy, the devil in me.
We have t-shirts.
We can do that. We can do my book too. We can do that. Come back Wednesday and do that because it's a dynamite ending. You're looking at a miracle.
Praise God.
Praise God.
And you are a miracle, Dr. Katrina. You're a miracle. I love you, ladies.
Love you too.
And you give them, tell them one more time where to get your book because we want them to.
You can get the book from Amazon. Right, Amazon is an easy place to get it. Right now, it's sold in all major bookstores that you can get the book. Read Kindle. You can get the book. You can click on Kindle. Mine's in the background. So. You can get the book from all the major bookstores and get the book and read the book because it has tips in there just to let you know the sign. There are signs. We don't talk about the signs, do we, Dr. Deborah? Right. There are signs. There are signs that lead up into it, and it's always they know who they go for. They know.
There's definitely signs.
All planned. There's signs. So read the book and get the tidbits, and then we come back and we can discuss more about the book.
Thank you so much, ladies. I hate to let y'all go. I'm glad I got y'all phone numbers.
Yes.
So we can chat it up and talk. Yes. And we'll come back. We'll just come back next Wednesday and we'll just discuss some more of Hush and My Daddy the Devil and Me.
Yes,
And Daddy's Girl. That's
Yes.
what we can do.
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
I love you, ladies.
Love you.
Right.
Good
Love
night,
you.
Facebook,
Thank you, everyone.
YouTube.
Good night.
See you next
Good night.
Wednesday.
Good night.
See you next Wednesday,
Good
7
night.
p.m. Same place, same
Same
time,
time.
same channel.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.